After many days of searching, hundreds of hours of house tours, and many declined offers later, we finally got our offer accepted on a house. After a 15-day close, we now have the keys to our brand new house.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is demo day 2. We've got quite a bit that we got to do today. I'm not completely sure what all we're going to fit in today's video, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to get most of this wall down. We started tearing this down in the last video, which was demo day 1. We just got to the house for today, and one of the very first things that I do want to do is opening up these windows, because this whole house smells like cigarette smoke, and we're hoping to really air that out. The more that the windows are open, the more that we can get that smell out. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it will go away completely though. It might be stuck in the floors and the walls, and if that is the case, a couple weeks down the road, we're gonna have to get some like Kills primer, something that will block all of that odor. But the windows should help at least a little bit. Another thing that we're gonna be doing here today is scraping the popcorn ceiling. I'm gonna be working up here and Nate's gonna be working downstairs. That way we're getting it done as quick as possible. We'll get more into scraping the popcorn in a little bit, but first let's go ahead and get all of these windows open so we can hopefully try to air this place out just a little bit more. Okay, so now that all the windows are open, I'm gonna start filling this up so that we can get started on scraping the ceilings. There is a lot of ceilings to scrape, so this is gonna take quite a bit, but hopefully between me and Nate, it'll go a lot faster. I've never actually done this before, so it's gonna be a little bit of trial and error. I did watch some YouTube videos though, and just about everybody have been using whatever these are called to scrape the ceilings. And then I also have a putty knife that hopefully it's just gonna scrape right off. I'm not quite sure. We're gonna see how this goes. I got a ladder behind me because I'm super short. Let's go fill this up and give it a try. In just about every YouTube video I watched on scraping popcorn ceilings, everyone said to use warm water, so that's what I did. And I also let the water sit on the ceiling for at least a few minutes before trying to scrape it off. At first I had a difficult time using the sprayer and getting it to spray where I wanted it to, but after some time I eventually did get it down. It just took some time to get used to, I guess. This footage that you're seeing here is the very first room that I was scraping the popcorn off in, and that is the upstairs living room. This is where I had all of my trial and errors. This is where I hit a big learning curve, and I'm gonna be completely honest, when I was scraping the popcorn ceiling in this living room, I was not going down far enough, so I still have yet to go back and just run through it one more time to make sure that it's super level and smooth. Here you can even see, like, I wasn't waiting for it to be wet enough. It wasn't scraping down deep enough. You should be able to see the drywall, and you can still see a bunch of white here. That's not how it's supposed to look. So just take your time in trying to figure this out, because if you do it wrong the first time, you're gonna have to go back and do it all over again. Fortunately for me, I only have to go back in this one room because I figured it out later on. But it does take a long time. It's a lot of work. You're, lifting your arm up over your head to scrape the water, or to spray the water on the ceilings, and then to scrape the ceilings. So it's a lot of work, and you only want to do it once, so make sure you're doing it right. So while I'm working on the popcorn ceiling upstairs, Nate is downstairs working on the popcorn ceiling, and Avery was in charge of getting the rest of this wall down. Initially, it was fun to bang into the wall and just create holes in the wall because you don't get to do that every day, but Avery is an electrician, and as you can see, there are a lot of wires, there were some vents, and I had no idea what to do there, so he just kind of took over and finished that up. We also got a little lazy towards the end of the day in day 1 of demo, so he had some more drywall that he had to tear off, but it wasn't too much and he got it done pretty quick. So then he got to move on to kind of just ripping out those bottom cabinets. I know you might be sad about seeing him just kind of tear it down and break it apart, but that sink cavity was so water damaged that it wouldn't have been able to be saved, and it was all just kind of glued together. So, you know, we tried to save as many cabinets as we could, but these cabinets just weren't able to be saved, which is fine. Avery was able to just bang them up and get them out, which actually wasn't a bad thing because then we could just keep moving forward in demolition. Now, real quick, I just wanted to say that if you guys like this content, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. We are trying to reach a goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I really hope you guys are enjoying this house content as much as I am. This has been one of my dreams ever since I started furniture flipping, and I still can't get over the fact that this dream has actually come true. It's been a lot of work so far, but I've loved literally every step of the way, and I can't wait to see what this house ends up looking like in the end, and just moving on, getting a second, third, fourth house. I absolutely love this stuff, and I can't thank you guys enough for all of your support so far. Now back to me with the popcorn ceiling. There's going to be a lot of back and forth because I'm trying to get all of this content filmed on one camera when there's 3 of us working. So you're going to have to bear with me for that. Maybe later down the road, if my YouTube channel expands and grows a little bit bigger, I can invest in more than just one camera. But for now, it's just my camera. It was about this room when I really started getting the hang of scraping these ceilings. I did this room, I did the second bedroom that was upstairs, and I got the bathroom done, and they were all looking great. It took about 3 days to scrape the popcorn ceiling upstairs in total, about 3 days for Nate downstairs as well. There was also a few other things that got done off camera, like we banged out the built-in that was in the living room. Although I loved it, it was taking up precious space of the master closet, and then Avery actually got all the framing done, and there is completely no more wall here anymore, which is so exciting. Once the weekend came, I was ready to start removing trim. 2 of my 3 brothers actually came to help. This is my little brother Jake and my older brother Luke. They were happy to help removing this trim and wanted to just kind of destroy and break some things down. And let me tell you, we probably got more done this day than we did the 3 days it was just me, Avery, and Nate.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna help, but I guess you got it.
Jake helped me get a few of the harder pieces of trim down, but otherwise I was mostly in charge of this room. Removing trim is just another one of those things where it's a really easy job. It's just that there's a lot of it, and definitely more than you realize. And you also have to be really careful not to damage the drywall behind it. Although I really wanted to be careful though, I wasn't too worried when there would be a spot or two that I would accidentally put a little dent in the drywall, just because I know the trim that we're going to be replacing it with is quite a bit taller, so it'll actually cover up whatever damages are made while removing this trim. As Jake was removing the last few pieces of trim on the window, I actually started to wipe down and clean down the walls, and I'm doing this for 2 reasons. Number one, when we were scraping the popcorn ceilings, a lot of that junk came off and went on the walls. And number 2, as I mentioned earlier, this house smells like cigarette smoke so much, and we are trying to do everything we can to get rid of it. In the solution that I'm using to wipe down the walls, I have water and vinegar to hopefully try to get rid of some of that odor just a little bit. This is also the reason why we didn't go ahead and prep the walls before we scraped the popcorn ceilings, because I knew I was already going to be wiping the walls anyways, so it would have just been an unnecessary step. And as I was wiping down the walls, the boys came in and started throwing the trim out the window. It just makes it so much easier instead of going around the whole house, so that we can just pick it up in the front yard later. There was still quite a bit that I had to wipe down in that room, so the boys started to move into the master bedroom and started to remove the trim there. but they actually got that done pretty quick. Once I finished with the walls in the closet, I joined Luke to help him rip up the first of the carpets we're taking out. All of the carpets needed to go. They are stained pretty badly and definitely hold a lot of the cigarette smoke smell in them, so they've got to go like yesterday. Luke took over the slicing of the carpet. He sliced them into sections, and then I followed him by rolling it all up and taping it up so that we could get it out easier than if we were to just rip it all up in one big section. Like everything else we've done so far in this house renovation, this process was also super easy. I also had some experience ripping up carpet because I did it in the room that I stayed in at my dad's house so that I could put like laminate flooring in. So this wasn't the first time I was ripping up carpets, and just having that skill probably is what made this so much easier. And then after Luke sliced the last few pieces of carpet in the master bedroom, I was able to clean up the rest and roll up those last few pieces by myself so that Luke and Jake were able to start ripping up the carpet in the other room that is upstairs, since we do have 2 bedrooms upstairs. Neither Jake or Luke had ripped up carpets since before this day, so they were both learning something new, which is something that they really wanted to do coming into helping me this weekend. They made a good team, and they're also 2 really hard workers that I thoroughly enjoyed having here. We got so much done. They had one request though, and that was to break something down. They wanted to be destructive. And so we gave them the freedom to destroy down, rip down this bar that was like the only thing left that we had that was ready to be destroyed, and they were ready for it. I will say it didn't quite break down or crumble into pieces like I think they kind of hoped. I think it was a little more sturdy and well built than they were thinking. That, and they didn't have the right tools, to be honest, to just break it down in the way that they wanted to, but they got to hammer into it and punch into it, kick into it, do whatever the heck they wanted because we needed it out. And also it was a plus for us because we got that bar out, so we all got something that we wanted. This was actually the last thing that we got done before my brothers headed home for the weekend, and we called it. We had a whole team with 5 people here, and it shows because we got so much done. If you guys are liking this house content so far, please make sure to like and subscribe. Interact with this video in any way possible by liking, commenting, sharing, anything, as it really helps our channel grow. And I will see you guys back next week because we have some not so great news on the house.